that we face. Mr. Nehls.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, Eric, you mentioned just a minute ago about a large, your district is a lot of migrants, 40% in Pakistan, and I'm going to make a safe assumption. Most of those individuals, it probably took them a decade or so to get here, and they did it through the legal channel. I think in the beginning of your talk, you talked about, you know, we got to get these bad hombres out of here, the ones that are committing crime. Do you think the director would agree with you on that?
If the gentleman will yield.
Sure.
I'll let the director speak for herself, but I will just say I am in agreement with you that I want to bring down those processing times, and I want the bad guys gone.
That's right. And even Eric Adams is now on board with President Trump and Tom Homan, and we're going to get them out. We're going to get them out of our country. Tren de Aragua, tell us a little bit about that. Those that are listening on this, tell us a little bit about this gang, Tren de Aragua. Are you familiar with them?
Yes. Thank you for the question. At USCIS, we are always in constant communication with our law enforcement and intelligence partners to learn about new threats so that we can apply that new knowledge into every step of our process.
So tell me a little bit about Tren de Aragua. You're just, tell me about that gang. What do you know about them?
I
Are
probably
you
don't want
kidding
to
me?
discuss too much
Oh my
of that.
goodness gracious! Yeah,
Yes.
you're hiding from it. They're a very violent gang out of Venezuela, which is
Yes,
part of that.
they are.
CHNV. They're coming in here. They're killing our American people. They're taking over states. They're taking over city blocks. How do you feel about that? I tell you, in some sarcasm, I want to almost thank you guys for the job you have done, because you totally blew it. The American people are sick and tired of what they've seen over the past 4 years. And you should all be fired. Well, you will be here shortly, because the American people said, we ain't gonna tolerate this anymore. I don't know, quite honestly, how Mayorkas and some in the administration even sleep at night with the job you've done with this parole, and you'll put some fancy words, you try to change a definition to justify this incompetence. It's criminal, quite honestly, what you've done. And when you see the families of these victims that have been tortured, raped, brutally murdered by individuals coming into our country, violent criminals, and I sent letters to Mayorkas, I got nothing. I heard nothing. The Border Patrol, everybody knew about Tren de Aragua, the gang. They didn't do nothing. They did nothing. And you didn't think the people were paying attention, the American people. You think they're too naive. They woke up, and now you're gone. And I can't wait till January 20th when President Trump will secure our border and put the American people first. I yield the rest of my time to the great chairman.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. First, I just need to note, Mr. Swalwell said the Democrats want illegal aliens who've been convicted of other crimes to be deported once they serve their sentences, but that is demonstrably false. Sanctuary cities and sanctuary states like California specifically forbid notifying ICE when they're about to release a prisoner who's here illegally so that they can be deported. And I'd suggest that the workforce crisis wages of working American families and working legal immigrants. Mr. Swalwell was right about one thing. Billions of people want to come to this country. And if we allow them, we have no borders, and therefore we have no country. Director Jaddou, our subcommittees noted that in millions of cases, credible fear interviews are not even conducted before migrants who have illegally entered the country are then released into the country. How do you explain that?
Thank you. This is exactly the point that I've been trying to express for many years now. USCIS, being a fee-funded agency, has to use fees we charge others to support the work we do at the border alongside our partners, Customs and Border Protection. That is not funded by Congress. It is funded by fees. Therefore, we are limited in the numbers
those fees,
we can do.
until we opened our borders, those fees were more than adequate to conduct those interviews, and under your administration, they're not. One of the tactics you seem to have employed recently is simply to close cases of asylum claimants without ruling on their legitimacy. That effectively grants them permanent residency. Why are you doing that?
Granting permanent residency, I'm sorry, sir, Mr. Chairman.
You close, instead of ruling on asylum claims, the cases are simply closed out.
Oh, on those cases. So many cases in the asylum backlog are wrongly in the asylum backlog. They're actually maybe defensive asylum, which should be before the immigration court. And we have, as we open each of these cases, discover that in fact we do not have jurisdiction. and it belongs elsewhere.
My time's expired.